ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Welcome in, everybody. Good evening and welcome to that ESL Challenger League. Season 51, of course. Second cup, just about getting towards the dying embers of it here, but I think there's going to be some bright lights, actually, as we get into the final couple of games. If I'm not mistaken, indeed, things are really heating up here, and just that grand final with one win waiting in the wings. And here we are with K27 up against Nemiga. For what we're calling the consolidation final, the lower bracket grand final, maybe you might call it. There's a lot of different ways of getting through this, but an exciting game nonetheless for myself, Scriv, and Neokai to walk you through here. Really looking forward to sinking our teeth into this one. We were just kind of chatting about K27. I think they're awfully close to getting locked in. It's about a week or so away, but a victory here and ultimately taking this cup, it could really make the difference in the end for their major spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when I was checking yesterday, they were at like a 27%. However, there is a couple of lands going on currently, like simultaneously, and I actually think that might hinder their chances because teams are getting upsets in these lands. But we can come back to that in a moment. For this matchup, though, it's one which these two sides all know each other very well, right? K27 and Nemiga have both played off against each other a couple of times throughout this year, but these are both sides are in very similar spots, like upper echelon to tier 2, both from kind of that Russian region who put up a hell of a lot of kind of talent and have so much of these youngsters that are really making a name for themselves. And we'll see, right? I think you're spot on. If either of them can make a decent run, I think Nemiga's chances are pretty much all but none. I think it's about 3%, something like that. But the chance for the likes of K27 is about 50%, right? So a win here in this consolidation final, even just getting to the grand final, might be enough for them. And they would also love a bit of revenge against OneWin, who took them down 2-0 yesterday. They'd love to have a second chance of seeing whether they can ultimately get that spot in towards the EU finals and potentially being for a chance at Pro League much later down the line. For Nemiga, they've been kind of fighting through this lower, and credit to them, they've been doing a very good job of it. We saw them yesterday against Ursa, and it was unbelievably light work. A very quick series.
Yeah, Nemiga have been heating up in a massive way on a stiff win streak at the moment, which I believe all those games that they've been winning have come from this lower bracket, right? So they've firmly been on the run back, looking very good while doing so. Yeah, I was just checking the mana game, and indeed it's 4 in a row for them, and it's 4 in a row from ECL. So yeah, they'll be feeling pretty damn good about how things are going. Some difficult matchups in there for sure. The game against Nemesis a few days ago could have been over a lot faster. We thought maybe they've let this one slip now, but no, they managed to recover. So we're seeing, yes, good and bad, but also a lot of arguments for Nemiga of like, okay, they're overcoming these problems, they're looking better in these types of situations, they're not letting the mental side of things take them down too much. So yeah, really excited to see what they have got. We got K27 on the other side, though, of course, a team that have been together for a long time, and a core that's stuck together may well be a really good argument for that, to be honest with you, and just building the project from the ground up, as this team has very quietly but surely been just creeping up the VRS, but particularly towards the end of last year into this year, they have stormed into major contention, as the case is.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a side that I have, a real lot of love for. I've been following them for a kind of a while now, and there's a couple of these individuals that are at the point where I think they're going to ultimately get a call up to a tier 1 team at some point. I think, Cashlin for me is somebody for the future that I really do believe in. I generally think that he can make a stance in towards a tier 1 team at some point, and Zido as well. Those two in particular have been absolutely frying on this team, and yeah, man, they play some really good Counter-Strike. I followed them until the end of last year where they really started to make a run for themselves, and now they just cemented it with a strong start in towards the second half of the year. There's so much to like for them, and the hope is now that they can continue that and show what they can bring to the table here against Nemiga. We can kind of see their run as well. It being very, very good until, unfortunately, one winner dropped them down. But prior to that, it's just like a sea of green for this K27 side. They have been winning so much CS. On the flip side, Nemiga, a bit more of the same for them. A sea of green for Nemiga as well, who have been loving life in the server, especially with their recent changes, bringing in Kyron into the fray. But you look at some of these individuals. I thought Khan continues to look excellent every time that we've caught him in the ECL Cup. Sypho looks super sharp when he gets his chances. Sawalio's really solid too. Like, this Nemiga side bring a hell of a lot of firepower to the table, and they're always a very scary side to go against.
No, absolutely. I think there is an awful lot to get excited about in this matchup, to see another clash of styles and of titans at the moment within the tier 2 space. And it does seem, you know, once the conversation comes in, you got the major, you got the Cologne major at that. These teams really do seem to step up their game and try their absolute damnedest to get qualified in. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work. You know, Nemiga are very close, but I think just going to be on the outside of it, unfortunately, and not quite enough lands from them either. Maybe, you know, unfortunately by virtue of some of the nationalities involved. This, of course, their run so far and most recently, but yes, at the Cup, it feels like, as I mentioned, all those in the lower brackets, they've been here for quite some time and looking pretty good while doing so. We have the Zido and the Sypho head-to-head, the O's at the end of their names, of course, and hopefully they can face off against each other on the server.
Yeah, exactly. These two, I feel like, will be a real kind of make or break point within this series. You know, for Zido, I think in particular, he's somebody that can have some real high moments and also at times a couple of lows. I still do back him a lot, and I think he is probably one of the most talented players in the server, but it's a big ask. We've got the Veto to bring you as well, and there's a couple of picks that feel like they should be on the lock and key. You know, you've got, for example, Nemiga with that Overpass. Very good map for them. Not a great map for K27. We've already kind of seen what Nemiga can bring to the table. You know, we saw them against Ursa, that 13-4 yesterday, dominant display. The Nemesis one was a little bit funky, but there were still flashes of brilliance. But it's just the fact that K27 don't like it, and Nemiga play it a lot. That makes complete sense. On the flip side, there's a few maps that have been really good. Now, Dust 2 would have been a fantastic map to have here if it was open, but of course it gets banned first wave out by the likes of Nemiga, because they know that also they share a similar permaban. They share that Inferno permaban, so they risk it. Banning Dust 2, leaving that Inferno open, which then K27 will get out as their perma. And then it changes up kind of like, it makes it harder in the choice they could go to. Ancient's an option, Anubis is an option, Nuke's also an option as well. Those three are all not bad maps for them, but I mean, we'll see where they want to go here, really. Okay, so they're going to go for that Nuke. Fair play, 20 times play, 65% win rate, not bad, but Nemiga don't hate that map either.
Yeah, it's a decent kind of pickup, I think, to say the least. We'll see where the decider goes here. I think that there's a few options. I would have figured Mirage might actually be one of the quicker ones, but it's Anubis that comes out as that decider. And I'm, maybe slightly surprised at that, you know, the Mirage gets taken away and doesn't necessarily make it towards the end. I suppose Nemiga wanted to go for the Ancient overall, but I don't know. Are they going to be better on the Anubis? They have a few more reps. They have a bit more success. I'm curious to see. The decider ultimately could have gone to all three of them, though, in all honesty. Both teams are pretty proficient on those final three maps. It is just the same permaban, and then the fact that K27 not showing a lot of proficiency on the Overpass is the big standout of the vetoes. Yeah,
no, I think you're absolutely right. It does become kind of interesting, I think, for K27. They might, in their own heads, sort of be theorizing a world in which they have to play this to go all three, in a sense, which is inherently quite risky. I think that's kind of like one way of looking at it, but it's just been a struggling map for them. We've already seen some real highs from Nemiga, 13-4, as I was kind of mentioning, against Ursa. Like, they barely broke a sweat in that game, and it's hard to tell whether that's an indictment of Ursa themselves being poor, or if it is actually going to be a really decent map for Nemiga, which they're able to replicate, is, I guess, kind of sort of the big question. But I think for K27, they might just have to kind of slightly survive on Overpass and then have to try and reverse street through Nuke and Anubis.
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, that maybe speaks to just, as you say, an expected kind of result, an expected kind of situation for them to go through. But could be interesting. K27, have they been doing the work on it? I mean, they've played it a little bit more recently, and it's been some closer losses in the past couple of weeks. They got a win in here against Miles NXT as well. So a lot of teams seem to be trying to punish them on it, and more recently, like I say, there's one that stands out against X-Ruby, but there's some closer results, or there's some victories in there. So it might not be as weak as first thought. I think it's just the fact that they've been like 13-0 at the start of the year. Then they had 4 losses in a row swiftly after that. So that ruined their win-loss ratio on this map, I think it's safe to say. So there's potentially a chance. And I mean, Nemiga, we've seen kind of the best and the worst of them. They smashed Ursa on it. They smashed Havu on it maybe a week ago. But then the Nemesis game in the middle sticks out that we caught, where it felt like they had the upper hand. They had a really good start. And it slipped away from them. They got demolished on that T side. Okay, fair enough. Maybe we're going to see a bit of a run back. And then I seem to remember some kind of silly rounds being dropped against like lower buys that end up costing them the map overall. So there's still something in there for Nemiga. Maybe K27 have done their homework on that loss and they've seen what the issue was.
Yeah. I think that is exactly right. I think we should be hopefully getting in towards this game in just a second. Seeing the server, I'm seeing that nearly everyone's in. Nearly. We're waiting on one from Nemiga. And then should be good to go, I think, if we're right in saying. And generally, HTV maybe is slightly delayed as well. So potentially we could be just around that corner from getting this game underway. But as you mentioned, this is this lower bracket grand final, consolidation final, however you want to call it. The winner will be taking on One Win tomorrow, and a One Win side who are in incredible kind of form themselves. There's a kind of new tenureship, new leadership, whatever you want to call it, with Kicker in towards this side. He's only been part of that roster now for just about a month, him and Rayos, right? But obviously has been working out for the best, and the fact that they're able to scalp K27 so comfortably is a really, really big sign for where they're at. 13-11 on that first map of Overpass, funnily enough. So, I mean, K27 got 11 rounds against One Win on Overpass, which is not bad. That is One Win's map pick, and maybe the stats don't tell the full picture for K27, but then they lost out towards Ancient, 13-7 themselves, and that one was a little bit more one-sided. That went on at the same time as our game with Nemiga and Ursa. But I think K27, they would love a bit of revenge. The only issue is I don't really know how they change up their veto process. They're most likely going to have to play that Overpass again if they make it through this game. And One Win, they, in that veto process, looked like they were happy to get rid of the Nuke, which is what teams are figuring out against K27. You ban Nuke and it's going to make life a little bit harder for them. You leave Nuke open and that's when things can be troublesome. But finally, we are live and ready to get underway with our consolidation final here. It's Nemiga taking on K27. Winner moves forward to the grand final tomorrow against One Win.
Yeah, very much looking forward to this one. And, you know, just one step away from winning out the cup and getting your place in that regional final. And then, of course, one step closer to the Pro League. So, begins here with the pistol. Keep that dream alive. That's what Nemiga have been doing all week long here. Swalio, 2 openers up. Ashlid will trade him out and sticking around. He's pretty confident. Looking to try and take another couple of heads if he can. He's close. Does well. Slows them down. Drops the bomb. It's all great information. The numbers are decent for the T side though. X5 trying to creep around. Trying to take a head. Not happening for him. He's drawing them in and they were checking for Relaxi. It's X5 that kind of falters. However, the quick flank here is certainly unexpected. And Quink. Oh, God. Oh, it's my. Work. It's a lot of work, in fact. And he does take a goosh. He's looking to be alive and have another chance at this. Lear will take him down, and maybe deservedly so with how that one panned out. Yeah, that was really messy for Quinky there. Really just, you know, the crosshair wasn't even on. First and foremost, that's the huge sort of issue coming through. It was so scrappy. A good start for Nemiga. A really, really ugly CT round from K27 doesn't paint a pretty picture, but they're going to go for a force bite. 4 to 5 kills will tempt them into it.
Firepower much better over towards that C side with 3 Galils to fall back on. It is just a Scout MP9 and a few upgraded pistols for the CT side. So all signs point to this being a 2-0 and then most likely a 3-0 start as well, with money being broken in towards the next.
Twinkie hidden out behind the pillar here. Could be devastating. Depends on how he gets checked. Moving very, very fast on the Nemiga side of things. Twinkie dealt with. 5-7, spamming away, but there's a few too many smokes in the way for him to really get good work done. It's some pretty nice charge downs here from Nemiga. Zito and Cashlid are going to be the only 2 remaining. And they might, begin the conversations to save. Zito is out there. Scout is looking and, well, will lose his head for sticking around too long. Nemiga are vicious at the moment. Really quick and aggressive start from them. Zito also falls, sticking around himself, so this is getting out of hand really quite fast.
It is. It feels very, very akin to kind of how things start against Ursa as well, where part of me thought it was kind of Nemiga coming in towards this game and saying, we're better, Ursa are not at the same level as we are at the moment, so therefore we're not going to show them respect, and we're going to play a little bit looser, a little bit faster, rely on our individuals. I didn't expect this to come against K27. I thought they'd be a bit more reserved, a bit more kind of like methodical in terms of their approach, but credit to them. You know, it's a cutthroat side here in Nemiga. We've got so many guys who can step up in big ways and kind of single-handedly win rounds, and that's what they're relying on at the moment. That's working. 2-0. Should be 3 in a second. It'll tag up X5. Now, someone told me, I can't confirm this, but someone told me you pronounce his name Zagev.
I mean, I can maybe see it.
Yeah, because the 5 is meant to be like an A, and the 7's meant to be like a 3.
How's he done that, then? Those numbers exist. It's called a 4 and a 3, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
Then you know, elite speak. What do you want to go with? You want to go Zagev? Are we doubling down or?
No, because I don't have confirmation. I would feel bad if I'm like, you know, someone on Twitter told me, like, I kind of made a joke saying he was like the Steam Authenticator code, the one we all make, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then someone was like, oh yeah, but we, you know, you can call him Zagev, and I was like, right, if you say so. Do I believe?
Maybe he's just tried to figure that out himself.
Do you know, actually, I might check. I haven't done it in a while. If he has a little thing on HTV, because they sometimes tell you how to pronounce.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Here's the areas. While this round plays out, he does not. The only one we actually need to know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the only one in like the
Top
entire
levels.
world.
Yeah.
To be honest, once in a while someone comes along and you can get close. You know, obviously there's like Kaiosuke, Kyosuke, you know, and all that.
Yeah, it's definitely Kaiosuke. I don't know where the Kyosuke thing has come from. That is, I think
it's a whole. Wasn't it like it's an anime character or something? And
yeah, which would be Kaio.
Traditional. Well, I don't know. In traditional Japanese, apparently you say it like Kyosuke, something like that. Maybe it's the other way around though. Maybe it is the other way around. But I just remember that whole chit chat. I mean, technically, like Zaiwu, we all say Zaiwu. It's Ziwu, you know, in
Ziwu,
French.
Yeah.
So, funny how it works. The famous one, Zipix and Zipnix, which Zipnix sounds better, but he wanted Zipex or whatever, Zipix. Classic. Oh, shadow spotted. Nice find by Cashlid. We are brought back to reality by the AWP, of course. The perfect weapon for it. Man advantage for the CT side. Absolutely needed. As the game not off to the best of starts. Can they convert it? Really big deal. I mean, 5-on-4, CT side of Overpass. It has to be doable here.
Yeah.
They really do need to get this one over the line.
Well, they just need to kickstart this CT side, and that's not going to help. Just on the 50 seconds, and now back into a 4 versus 4. That front sight smoke towards A is causing a real ruckus here, though. They're going to play around it, and they're going to get a kill. Quite the second. Cash will bail them out. And he might be called upon for a few more here as well as they're progressing towards B. Quinky with a nade that rounds that corner. Decent residual damage, but they should be able to plant here. And that flash pops perfectly to keep Relaxi at bay. They're still not committed to the plant, though. Bomb was dropped, now collected. And denied. And look at the time on that denial, too. They'll tuck their heads. They know this is a done affair. And K27, that passive play at the end, will net them success. Nice work. Really dicey. That swing from Water's huge, though.
Yeah. Bit of individuality is always going to be good, I think. Just to prove what they have. Prove that they can answer back. So, first rifle going their way. Decent signs all round. Will there be a response from Nemiga? No timeout, so, you know, cutting through the tension, not quite happening just yet. Certainly interested. Sualio. He goes in. Tiny bit of damage. I mean, they have to be careful here. There's multiple players on either side of it. But it will indeed be the CT side to come out on top. Zido is lucky, but executes well. Sypho, meanwhile, nice idea, just being perfectly watched for in this case. Sometimes that is going to work for you, but not here.
Moving up. Kyron. Gonna get caught. Cashlid, nice work from him. Nice time to check, and that'll all but confirm the round. With a minute left to play, there's just nothing really that can be done here for Nemiga. And for Leah, this is not an easy place to try and save from either. So much time for him to be caught in transition like this, for example, as Zido makes a move. That'll be that. 3-2. K27 finally starting to give us a little bit of a look into what they've actually got on this CT side. Now the guns are in play and a bit of form starting to come up too. This is more like it. Only broken too, so should be a tie game, no bother.
Yeah, you would expect so. You have that Hero AK in the conversation. And Nemiga maybe going back to things that worked for them with some wider swings. A lot of damage dished out, not quite the kills that they would want. X5 going to be flashed up and therefore his teammate isolated. Oh, he goes digging and he will fall. Didn't know what to do. Hold the spot. Oh, take the initiative. And with recovered AKs now, the heads are rolling. It's Cashlid suddenly alone. He does manage to find one with that nade. That denies the bomb plant as well. Maybe puts the onus back on the T side. He's going to flash his way out and try and just get another kill. Does not happen. Not out of the realms of possibility here because the lack of armor, right? Just depends. He's got angles to check. He's got so many corners they could be hiding in. Gonna reaggress. Finds Sualio on maybe a needless peek. So he leaves it all on Sypho here. Gonna hear all this action. He's just not ready for him to be pushed in deep. Thank goodness, a bailout there in the 1v3 turn 1v1. But Nemiga with a highly unlikely round and just super cheesy here, man. Go fighting in Monster. Smoke is late, or maybe they threw like a molly to delay it. Maybe they were just there so very fast that the CTs were not expecting all that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just an overfight by K27 towards Monster, and a really scrappy one at that. Like, in another world where they're just tap firing at the M4s at range, they're probably fine. But it's really laboured sprays being held, and then they get punished, and then they gain so much space. Boost up here. I like this little mid play they got going. Tito holding down lower. Cashley was holding for the crossing towards playground, but they hear and spot nothing, and as time ticks, they'll fall back to a little bit more of a default position. Tito will go back, take a bit of long control. Cashley falls further back into bathroom. Not worth losing your life over here. This is a good angle, though. If you can catch the player making their way out of connector, Might be a chance, but no. Flashed off the angle. So from bathrooms now taken by Nemiga for free.
Yeah, interesting. Are they going to be able to do anything with it? 45 seconds. Very curious. And winding further and further down as the thoughts go on here for Nemiga. So what is the game plan? Going to be walking into A, which is very busy at the moment. X5 in a great advanced position as well. He's just managed to thread through without being seen. 20 seconds. Surely his position becomes devastating. Utility going to roll over the top. Gotta check these angles. 10 seconds. He could drop the bomb at the perfect time. He might just do that. Even just holding it up is surely enough. 7 seconds to get in here, and there's still a CT at the back. They will bail unsuccessfully. Just Khan surviving. I don't know what to make of that. So slow and so very flat and desperate at the end.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I feel like at times you see, especially with this Nemiga side, for better or for worse, they like to pull these slow, drawn-out rounds into play. But the issue is sometimes, as we kind of saw in the round prior, the more punchier plays is where we kind of see some of their best work. Like somebody like a Chiron, it does feel like you want to just send them into the fray. So you can kind of see now where the buy to come through is going to be very awkward. Open play for Khan, AK for Sypho, but then around this is going to be, yeah, ugly. Understandable why they call for a pause. The Eagle for Sawalio with Util. A P250 for Chiron and Lear to round it out. Not exactly a pretty look on this buy, but the round prior they did convert it.
It is true. They're getting a little weird. They seem flustered. In these rifles especially. K27 with the expected overpass in the veto could be making a big difference here. Nice nade on the boost. So it is good damage to begin proceedings. Unconfirmed for the time being. But still pretty good. What Nemiga looking to change? I feel like they conditioned them so well with like the fast rounds initially. Now they've slowed things almost to a halt in a lot of these spaces. It feels very weird. Nice catch from Khan though. His consistency the past few days has been absolutely lights out, and Sawalio's double degged them in the tunnel. Unbelievable. Nemiga catch off the aggression at all turns of it. K27 not a single kill.
No, I chuckle because I just saw a notification come through where, as that round was playing out, we got atted by none other than K27 themselves. And in the perfect time with this tech pause, K27 have given us a little, mock sheet of how to pronounce their names, which basically we all knew, right? Like in terms of like, I guess how to say it. Apart from actually, Zido, they say Casido. Fair play. I just thought it was like the Z sound because of an X. Cashlid, fair enough. X5, just X5. So whoever told me it was
yep.
Zagev.
You did well not to listen to a man.
There we go, Twitter. Exactly. Do not listen to them. Relaxy and Quinky. So we were basically completely right, apart from we were like unsure whether X5 was actually X5.
Yeah.
And it is X5. So thank
Shout
you.
out. Appreciate that.
K27 Esports. I feel like we actually got them all right though. We weren't really saying anything wrong. I guess like Zido, Casido.
I mean, it might be the way that like X has come out in, you know, the language that it was originally designed in, kind of thing. If that makes sense, like an X sound can be. Well, I guess it is. We're saying Zido. It can be like a, you know, accept.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of like a sound, you know. It's a little bit interesting, I suppose. But yeah, Xido, I think is maybe what they're after. Is what I would think.
Casino.
Yeah,
see, that's just not something. Not something we really get like in like the English language. That like
no, it is true.
Sound. Casino. Yeah. Well, let's see. Relaxy. Down he goes, Quinky. MP9 could be good here. A little scrappy, gets a dink off, and there's well, X5 can get 1 for it. Now into a 2 versus 2. Cashlid and Casino with that M4A1S. Khan holding him behind. Under a minute, this bomb will go down. Oh, this boost is a great idea. This can't consider it. It feels like no. It definitely looks like no. Khan tunnel vision into the wrong spot. Casino will do well. 1 versus 2. Cypher up close. Sending the pistol in first. He's playing trigger discipline. This is genius, but he needed to hold it for just half a second longer. Pulls the trigger too early. And Casino will trade. That's K27 up to a 4th.
Looking really good, K27. Cedo there on the clutch. I feel like that's a bit closer. I'm just trying to get it out a few more times so I get used to saying it, you know. But yeah, there's a few names in there for commentators that can be tough. I think that one should be all right.
Yeah,
Ex-Kaspersky is the classic.
Yeah, that one really has puzzled a lot of people, isn't it? Ex-Kaspersky. But I feel like it's just you gotta say it like 3 times, and then boom, boom.
Yeah, you just have to not read the word though. It really, I think, as an English native, like it's just spelt slightly differently to the way that we might go about spelling it.
Yeah,
and it really does throw you off.
And now we know that, yeah, it's not Zagev, it's X5.
Yeah.
And we were right all along. So
I think that's pretty funny that it's just kind of like conceding. Even the organization's like, we don't know.
Just
what is this guy on about?
Call him X5. We don't know why he's picked this name.
One day he just hit the keyboard, and what came out, that was his name for
I will say though,
eternity.
When people make names like that, it's fully on them if commentators like getting it wrong, because like, you know, why not just call yourself Black Bill? You know what I mean? Like, just make it easier for ourselves.
Yeah.
Cedo's dead. But Cashley's here. Nice trade from him. There's a flanking play from X5. He's in behind. Depending on his timing, he could get 2 for here. He does spot the bomb, and he'll retreat. And he's also kind of moving into danger. There's a player in bottom con. It's Chiron who's waiting down towards that B site. And now it's a foot race back to B. Chiron overlooks the possibility of a quick rotation, so he'll go down. Flash barely does anything towards Lear, and Cashlid's already here to meet them on the cross. Lead down to the FAMAS is causing problems, and with a swing from Quinky, it's K27 who tie up this game. While statistically this map might not have been great for them, they're not looking too bad right now.
Yeah, that's a tough round. They walk straight into the trap downstairs, just not quite fast enough. Didn't catch on the replay. I don't think we saw the like relaxy position and rotate, but ultimately maybe just the fact that that fight took a little longer gives him the time to get across to find that frag. But yeah, K27, as you mentioned, looking a lot better. I mean, the way that we would shape this up, though, 5 rounds on your T side, it's pretty good. You know, it feels like enough to work from. So second half is where things heat up a bit more for K27. How does their T side look? But as I mentioned, man, I think they've been putting the work in. I think, well, I don't think, they have had a lot more of these close games in the past week or two, and a victory sprinkled in there as well. So I feel like the Overpass has maybe been slowly improving. In a big game like this, prep for your opponent, prep for the map itself. It's got to be coming out in this veto. It's not like it's going to be a surprise. It's not a middle map for Nemiga, so some of the other series, it might have been like the Decider or whatever, but not every single team is going to be super confident to pick into it themselves. Nemiga definitely will be here, right? This and Dust 2 are the 2 maps that they're really enjoying at the moment. So all those things come together. K27 more prepared than it might first appear. we'll see here.
There we go. Sorry, I had a long sneeze there, but I'm back.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
You know, you have like 3 in a row.
I'm a two and done kind of guy.
Oh, I had like 3 there. I was like holding in the 4th, but we're back. Kyron, 3 for him. But coming back to the point you were bringing up, I think generally speaking, like, regardless even if K27 were to get this final round, like 5 rounds T-set is already considered enough. It looks like they might flawlessly get the 6th here, though. And that, for me, is a big concern. Like, 6 rounds Seaside is generally seen as a really good thing. And the question is, you know, for a side like K27, who generally don't love this map or haven't, you know, got the real win rate on it, can they pull off more of the same? My assumption would be no. Last man seen off. It is a consolation kill on towards Kyron. He's had a fantastic round. It's 6-all, tied square at the half. But being the most CT-sided map in the pool, Nemiga will be pretty happy with that. We're going to throw it to a halftime break. See you soon. Welcome back. Second half underway. We were already building this narrative that 6 rounds on the T side of Overpass is not an easy stat line to come back from. It may seem all even and fine on paper, but this is the most CT-sided map in the pool right now. So this is quite the big ask. And I was taking a little look as well in that halftime break, and 4K27 on Overpass, they only have a 34% win rate on their T side. So being frank here, Scrim, mate, all signs are pointing to this being map number 1 going the way of Nemiga.
No, it is very true. I think we're going to have to see a massive against the trend kind of half. 4K27, obviously a lot of that begins with this pistol as well. Oh, to just give you the bolster up, and while they're lining up nades, the CTs have thrown the disruption. There are some responses coming back in. Could get freaky over here. Reset coming in. They've still got control of that bomb, which is pretty important. Player spotted out. Leah taps away, just continuing to take a few chunks. All three CTs stacked up, going for a quick peek together. Gonna see that there's nobody there. They move towards short. Oh, man. For a second, I thought could be deadly. They just couldn't find that initial headshot. Maybe a shadow spotted early. Nonetheless, Nemiga getting that really, really important pistol.
Yes, and this is where things start to become potentially quite unfortunate. I love that little pack mentality of the way they move around their Nemiga. It's very akin to kind of how they play some of their T-side rounds, but in that one, they just know all we have to do here is trade. Do not allow ourselves to get isolated. Even if there was a Glock spam in there, they know that 3 of them would be more than enough. 7-6. It is going to be a force buy by K27. And I think in most situations, I would say I don't like the force buy on kind of a T-side round when you don't win the pistol, especially if you don't get a bomb plant. If you get a bomb plant, I can allow it. If you don't, though, as we can kind of see here, you see where the funds are at, but I think K27 know that their chances are quite slim and they need something quite miraculous to go in their favor. So they're going to try and dive through, but they're walking straight into Cypho. Kyron's there for one of his own as well. Tech9 pulled out to Sawalia, does get the trade onto X5. And that'll leave Cashlid with it all to do. And unfortunately, there's no real chance for him. Sure, bomb on his back, but there's no way he's making her out of this, surely.
Wouldn't have thought so. Bomb plan might happen. Lear's rotating up. So surely they can just trade off of each other over here. And he will get clapped by the first man seen anyway. Really good looking couple of rounds for Nemiga. So now move up to 8. Will be that eco out for K27. Just to keep our saga going, I suppose. We've had another response as we've been, you know, chit-chatting and whatnot during the break.
Yeah.
And apparently X5's name was indeed just a Steam authenticator code that he thought looked cool. Or, you know, signing up for a tournament, not got a name. First thing that came to mind, first thing he saw on his screen, and the rest is history, I suppose.
Do you know what? That's pretty based. I gotta respect that, I really do.
Name doesn't matter. Clicking heads is all that matters.
That's it. That's quite a mindset. And it's one that I can really get behind. I don't care whatever you call me as long as you watch what I do in the server.
Yeah.
Nice. The Eagle. Of X5, though. I'll be able to find that kill. Leah, the MP9 delivering. The 9th round feels like it's just round the corner here. Lesser buy once again for K27. There's just still so much utility for Nemiga to fall back on.
Leah, creeping around, looking for some more money. Ooh, gonna get caught. So hold on a moment. Early kill like that. 30 seconds left in the round, though, and of course this T-side. Nothing to work with. They got one flash on the contact. Khan is pretty heavily blinded. Chiron's here to help him out. And they just stay cool to land the headshots. With only 20 seconds, you feel like just hold the line. Even if Khan does go down here. Should be very doable, and indeed. 9th coming in. K27 quickly have their backs up against the wall here. Rifle buy to come through. This has to work. Otherwise, I think this overpass might just be over.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like this feels like we're already on the beginning of the end. If this gun round doesn't go successfully, potentially call it a day in this one for that overpass. We've spoken about it. Not a great map, generally speaking, for this K27 side. It has been a bit of a weak point in the veto process, and with Nuke being banned out, it obviously makes it... Oh, Dust 2 being banned out, may I say. It makes it much harder. Nemiga have done well to angle this veto. We did say coming in towards this series, it says there's probably a world in which K27 are considering that, you know, for us to take a win here, we're going to have to reverse sweep this. You know, let's put up a commendable fight on Overpass, but we know our strengths really lie in the veto process in Nuke and Anubis for us in this matchup. Oh, Khan. I actually love the idea. Under pressure now, though, but he has Kyron to support him. He only gets one. Khan gets nothing. As the two superstars of Xedo and Cashlid will combine well. Lear here in response. A bit of a vet in his own regard, but only good for one. As Cashlid doubles down, bomb will go down.
Could be big. Can they hold on to the post plant now? Is the next question. Edge of a player spotted. More damage is going to be helpful and might even convince them to save. Sualio shows his face. He's blinded up quick. There's just nothing coming here. They do have a couple smokes. Oh, here we go. Looking to try and make a late move for that ninja defuse. It's about the only play that they've got. He's immediately deleted off the bomb, though. And so it will be K27 with their first in this second half. And they eliminate all the players as well. So all of a sudden, the narrative changes. K27 looking at the gap close.
Yeah. The big thing is can they get this gap to close, right? You know, for K27, it's now, you need kind of back-to-back rounds to really put pressure on the CT finances. Then you get the chance to alleviate some of the pressure that you've got on the shoulders. This is kind of the big one, right? We get a timeout coming through. I think Nemiga know that there is a potential worry here. Lose this round, our money's broken. That ultimately means this game will be tied at 9 apiece. And at 9 apiece, that's where K27 might start to snowball. And that's sort of the worst case scenario for Nemiga, who felt like they're in a commanding position. 6 rounds of the T side and a decent start towards the half. But with CS2, we know how quickly these leads can slip away. So while we were sort of slightly at 9-6 counting out K27, it's round number 17 that could change that narrative in my mind. I still lean Nemiga at the moment just by virtue of that solid first half, but K27 find an 8th here. That might start to change a bit.
Boost a bit late, unfortunately, not going to catch anyone hanging around. Yorp really trying to get in the conversation. Can't. Does find an opener despite looking a little caught off. He continues, for my money, his crispness. Leah, meanwhile, is keeping an eye on short. Double nades. Ooh, right place, but Sypho is just slightly off to the side rather than holding at wood. Maybe heard them coming, maybe knows what's up on that timing. Either way, really quite smart from him.
Jump up. Hold long at range here for Zedo. I'm going to play behind this smoke. High risk, high reward with a position like this. Is it going to be properly held for? No, that's bomb dropped in the back lines and Lear up close or catch Quinky on the swing. It's all falling apart. An answer back, but it's all on the shoulders of Relaxi. He needs an ace clutch in this round, and that is for damn sure not happening. Surely not with 25 seconds.
Yeah, Relaxi out of there. Or is he? He will get dropped, actually, in the end, so not going to be saving anything. Ah, that's tough. A crumple from K27. Found a big round. And they were just one more away from really opening this map up, but Nemiga have shut them down quick. Denying a bomb plant away in that round as well, so may continue shutting them down. They have a decision to make. What are we going to do? I mean, you've got a few players on 5 and 6k, so I think you do just indeed go for this one. Not perfect. They've traded some information of, like, what nades do we need? They will change the buys up ever so slightly. Fast movement towards short in particular, trying to get the Mac 10 out. Relaxi as well. Charging through. He will get dropped. X5 is very close to the action here. Does get one. Has he got any support? It seems yes, but my goodness, Leah in particular just deleting them.
Credit to him. Leah's actually having a really good map, and he's normally not the guy at the forefront of the frags within this Nemiga side. Generally speaking, obviously, there's so many different people who step up. Khan in particular, and Kyron. And Khan, and to be fair, Kyron are both having a bit of a quiet game, but Lear's taking that space and utilizing it well. Now up to 11. And 2 away, and considering that this is a half bye, should be just 1 away. K27 still want any sort of chance taking this overpass. They've got to convert a round like this. One that's a statistical anomaly for them if they were to find success. It's going to be flashing towards short here. Oh, Leah spotted. Wants nothing to do with it, so I'll get a molly down. I think they realise the potential of a pop flash and a rush through short is there, but Sypho full blind. Kyron and Leah combine, and Sypho comes back in. He double dips as he gets his second, and leaves it all on Relaxi, who does get his kill. A consolation, an AK scooped up, but 1v4 turn 1v3, surely no chance in hell.
Yeah, you would think so. Bit of utility down. Gonna try and give it his best go, I suppose. Number 12. All but inevitable, unless... As Counter-Strike can. Crazy headshots. It's going to be Khan that gets it. Not the K27 side. So 5 in a row going to be required here to stay alive for K27. Take us to the OT. Unfortunately, as expected, moving on to this T side, they've just not really gotten going, if at all. And Nemiga set to take the first map.
Tech pause, though, to... A brief tech pause, that is. At 12-7. 5 map points for Nemiga on their map pick. They've just looked so comfortable. And since the turn of the half as well, only the 1 round from K27 has simply not been good enough. Is there any life left back in this K27 side on this map? X5. Already got pretty deep up short here, which could be overlooked.
Possible. There's 4 players on B.
Quad stack here. Oh, he spotted his leg. He spotted his leg.
Of that. Yeah, just a bit of an edge of it. Maybe he spotted it moving in there earlier on. Pretty keen find, and information discovered. T's now left with a decision to make. They still give it a look towards A, just making it seem quiet, you know, flash over and trying to bait something out. They do indeed. Cashed with a good find. All of a sudden, the conversation begins about this A-bomb site. There's a light smoke that comes in. 35 seconds. There's not a lot of time here, Neo, honestly. Trying to keep the conversation at B going as well. As Quinky finds a kill over there, but the bomb's going to get dropped by HE, so I don't know if that's been seen, but to us, it confirms that it's going to be an A hit here. If that even gets going, Cashlid alone versus 3, despite that find on B. Things have slipped through their fingers. Cashlid spotted. Left low, 10 seconds to get the bomb down. Not going to happen for him, and Nemiga to take it over the line. K27, they gave us the tiniest drop of hope with the first rifle round going their way in that second half, but ultimately it was false, and it will be a pretty one-sided affair in the end.
Yeah, they do it in quite dominant fashion, which is the... I mean, what a statement, right, for this Nemiga side. We spoke about them being scary, and it felt like through this lower bracket, they've really continued to warm up and continue to put pressure on so many teams that I consider quite scary at the moment in Tier 2, and Nemiga, another really good map under their belt. Had a 13-4 against Ursa yesterday, now a 13-7 here. Overpass is a real sure part of their map pool at the moment, no two ways about it. And things are still now concerning for K27. We spoke about this at the start of the series, and we said if they're going to win this K27, they're most likely going to have to do it in 3, and now that is absolutely the case. For now, we're going to go to a break. When we are back, map number 2, K27's pick of Nuke is up next.
Welcome back in, folks. We are looking down the barrel of the second map here. A really strong start out for Nemiga on map number 1. As to be expected, we kind of said K27, if they're to win this, it has to be that reverse sweep storyline. And they're certainly capable of that. We now come into their map pick of Nuke, which has been a very scary map for them recently and one that they angle towards as much as they possibly can. That being said, it's not a bad map for Nemesis. They have smashed them on it recently, so maybe in the head-to-head it will be more K27 sided here, but still not going to be plain sailing from here on in, right? It's not like they're going to absolutely reverse sweep things. They do have a long and difficult road back to the 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were speaking about it as well a little bit with this K27 side and talking about how a deeper run for this team would put them much higher in terms of the percentages of qualifying towards the major. It's kind of where they're at the moment. 50% chance of making it towards stage 1 of the major. A lot of it really is about the teams around them. You've got the likes of kind of like Gentlemates, Bait, NIP, Sinners are all kind of in positions where they're playing lands at the moment, and they're like on the precipice and the cusp themselves. FaZe are also below K27 currently, and then you've got a couple of teams above them who are also somewhat shaky in their own regard too. Bet Boom a little bit, 3D Max who have been kind of trending downwards, Big have been trending upwards, they're now ahead. So ultimately a win here, a reverse sweep, would put them in a spot where it secures it up a little bit more and it just makes them feel a little bit more at ease, and of course getting the chance to be in that for that potential of Pro League. A win here as well does put them up a spot in the VRS. They're currently 18th at the moment. They got to 17th win here over Nemiga, which would be, yeah, that would be pretty huge if that is the case. But it all starts here. Their map pick of Nuke, they've got to go in towards this one and really set a tone in the same sort of vein that Nemiga brought towards that Overpass, where it never felt like a doubt. The issue is, Overpass obviously is a map in which feels like a good punish pick for K27 at the moment. Nuke is not a punish pick for Nemiga. They do not mind playing this map. We've seen them play it recently. Nemesis, we casted that game. They look pretty good. 13-5, they took down Nemesis there. Even in this competition as well, taking down sides like Sangha, Havu, TLR, the last resort. They're on a 4-map win streak, so ultimately they're not going to be too upset that we are heading in towards Nuke. So K27 have got to bring something really special to the table.
Yeah, certainly going to be an interesting one here, depending on what version we get of this team, I suppose. There's Nemiga starting off on the CT side of things. Straight push in towards ramp. Not starting too well. Those Glocks coming out on top. The bomb, though, has not got safe passage down towards B here. Khan trying to keep them distracted, hoping for some assistance from the Julies. As Julie's only able to get one. It's going to be Lear. They know about him. In from behind as well. Let a couple shots off. They will deal on the double swing. K27 opening up strong.
Yeah, I love that as well. Very kind of punchy round there as well. Early top shot taken. They're putting pressure down towards that B side. And they're just swing single fight with 2 or more into those engagements, knowing that they don't want to allow. So Pearl starts well for them with the initial space that they create. Getting top ramp control gives you decisions, but rather than kind of milling on them and thinking, right, should we move forward for a wrap in towards hell, they commit. And that commit makes life very, very difficult for Nemiga. So, a pretty easy first. This could be messy, though. There is a lot of people here. They're going to commit fast. Still could get quite expensive. It's only a couple of casualties, but that could have been a lot worse. Nemiga figured out and pre-prepped that E-ramp stack.
Big round comes in quick. As K27 looking to just storm through here. Nemiga, though, wanting to get their first proper announcement on the board. CT side certainly capable, as we have seen from them on this map, as you've mentioned. Caught them a little bit recently. Swalio loses his life, but will open for that sacrifice. 4-on-4. Cypher with a slightly later ramp smoke coming in here. And he's in a pretty good position if they get too excited to go through this. I think they're going to wait for it to dissipate, but all the same, they seem quite certain of this. Khan's now making his way over as well.
This could still get pretty scrappy. The flash. Both of them go deep. They line up. Relaxy does get a trade. Cypher is able to get one and get out. Which that itself is important. How do they double swing him here? He's probably dead to rights from the side, and that is the case. Molly in towards double doors as well, or cut rotations. A smoke for single. Util's decent, but actually that Molly doesn't go deep enough to affect Leah. On plant. Leah can deny the plant, but he can't keep it deflected. 1 versus 1. And Kashid doesn't realize the other guy was also double doors. Molly down. He swings through it, and Kashid reacts. Oh, he's bailed them out. What a round of a two-piece to keep the win streak going on this C side. And, you know, we spoke about that CT-sidedness of Overpass. Well, there's a very similar nature about Nuke. Also, extremely CT-sided on its day. And this is big to see K27 get the opening 3 and probably the opening 4 rounds as well, considering that money is pretty feeble for Nemiga.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very big round, I think, to be taking. Setting the tone of this map, potentially. At least this half. Nemiga on the lower buy, but they still have something to speak of. And force buys on Nuke traditionally have been pretty effective if you can place your players in the correct spots. If the round works in your favour, so that could certainly be the case here. I think K27, though, pretty smart about it. How do you nullify the pistols? Well, keep them fully at range, and they are going to put most of their chips into the outside area.
Couple of pop shots. Karen's pretty solid. There you go. I feel like I've seen some nice moments from him. Ah, speak of the devil. There you go. X5 core. Not something that I would want to be facing, but Cashlid is red hot at the moment. If you can make sure this round's for the most part inexpensive, you'd be pretty happy with it. Relaxy. He's kind of running low on ammo as well. Yeah. Glock pulled out. He'll lose his head. So Alio toying with his food a little bit. This round still has potential, especially because of a 5-7 up close. 1 versus 2. They know where Soalio is. So they're going to go down towards the B side. That's the right call. They look tempted to make the wrap in towards heaven there, but they get called back down towards B. With essentially that notion of he was last seen A. Smoke down. Bomb will be planted inside of it. Soalio won't deny. He's also slightly being held. The swing will find one. Where is the second? Well, there he is. Zito popped his head up, and that is a 4th on the board for K27.
Yeah, really growing the gap. Another rifle going to be on the cards here. If they can find this one, probably move up to 6-0. And that shapes up to be a pretty one-sided affair, actually. We open up that conversation. You know, can Nemiga even get going? So, yeah, big round here for the CT side in particular. No excuses in terms of the buy. Khan out on that AWP is the one to watch. Not in the most present position, though. He goes heaven, he's watching the hut, which doesn't necessarily get him in the action from the get-go.
You talk towards our side. Hopeful spam, but close enough. He's got the right idea, though. Nade will break it open. Zito just about not spotted. The spam is good with damage, but Zito still gets on by. As Karen's making noise, too, he's surely dead to rights here. Oh, no. Zito's gone early.
Yeah, he's pulled away, I suppose, distracted by the man at heaven. X5 will help him out to find that initial kill. Meanwhile, over on the ramp, where the main hit's going down, it's up and down. Big find from Cashlid, however. Has he heard a footstep? Does he just have the read? Either way, he's got the headshot. And that is what matters at the end of the day. Man advantage comes in off the back of it. Lear on the ladder. Can't miss those. But now he's trapped in, left alone. Hoping for the wildest miracle headshots to go his way. It's not going to happen. And I think his element of surprise, question mark, I'm not quite sure what to call whatever that was on the ladder. but it's now
surprise
gone.
feels loose.
Yeah, he has to reset. I don't think that's going to do him any favors here.
Ooh. Oh, that's a nice find, though. Onto X5. The only thing is legs get spotted first here. Before he knows there's a guy top pot. It's a great little reposition by Cashley. 3 kills to his name. He is 10-2. I'll always sing this guy's praises. Did my ones to watch video for the year, and Cashley was part of my 5. Zido was also my sort of honorable mention, but Cashley was one that I've, been a fan of now for a good year or so. I caught a few of his games last year when K27 were really starting to make a name for themselves. Dove in towards the demos, and yeah, he's, for me, destined to at some point play within kind of a tier 1 side or, a top level side. Whether that is actually, to be fair, with K27. They've also made a really good run of things, and if they can have, a qualification to the major and then a decent run there, who knows, they could become similar to what we see with the likes of Foot, who are now sort of mainstays, or Bet Boom, who have become kind of regulars at these tier 1 events. That's sort of the path that K27 are on, and I feel like that's the level that, in particular, like Cashley and Cedo as well, should be playing at. They're both so sharp.
As I spoke about, that 6-0 now going to be on the cards now, and more so than that, I think it's pretty doable. Therefore, this map becomes very, very problematic. Not a single round as yet for Nemiga, and we're getting somewhat close, but not super close. Deagle not on the mark. They just really are not looking as crisp. And this is what can happen in the nature of a BO3, right? That first map, everything's going right. You're clicking heads and all the calls are perfect. Walking on water, and then you move into the next map and it doesn't hit the same, and you're like, what's going wrong? I don't understand. We're doing exactly what we were doing on the previous map, but it's just not working. So, K27 have perhaps figured things out here. Nice catch onto Relaxy. Just a Galil, nothing too special. And just 1 kill. So, response from Lear potentially needed to take some more money away. Keep that econ kind of in the bin for a few players.
Yeah.
They're not giving him those fights, though.
That'd be that. You forewarned that 6-0, and that's where we're at now. This is a CT side that still is yet to get going. We did have the feeling that these series could go all 3, and that's exactly how things are looking at the moment. Nemiga did look sharpish on their T sides in the previous map. Worth mentioning, of course, as we said, 6 rounds is a pretty good showing. All things considered for Overpass, but I don't know. So far, Nemiga have not really offered us anything that feels hopeful for Nuke. It's still relatively early doors in the grand scheme of things. X5's down, though, already. It's a really good position for him to hold.
They should get quite a lot of space down here. Maybe even more than they were realizing. Lear just walks down the vent and is like, wait a minute, there's a guy here. Let's get traded pretty speedily, like Cedo. And now Khan, head on a swivel. Sypho's down here as well. Could go well. This could go very south very fast, and it is the latter, unfortunately. With this lack of control now, I don't really see how the CTs get back in. Chiron, not a chance, bro. Very unlikely move. It's just Sualio left to probably save his AK here. 7 in a row now for K27. How long will this continue?
Sualio saves an AK. If he can, that is. Looks like he'll get away in time. But yeah, you're right. That question of how long will this continue? Maybe it doesn't stop. K27... There's a couple of moments where it's come down to kind of a 1v1 or a 1vx, but I mean, for the most part, it's been a fantastic showing from K27. They haven't looked under too much pressure, really, at any given point. Not really safe for the T sides. So there's Sualio, so I guess silver lining for him, but this is a damning showing at the moment. K27 having a lot of fun with it. And they're also finding consistent space down towards B as well. Whether that's via outside or ramp. You know, this map started out with a couple of ramp dives back to back to back. And we're still seeing them on the gun rounds and they're still having as much success.
All right. Gotta deliver big things here. K27 are just really looking to take this one super fast and start the conversation about the third map. Looking a hell of a lot better. And look, we did see them look decent in that first half of Overpass. It's obvious that just the T side of Overpass, big pain point for them. Since then, they have not put a foot wrong. T side of Nuke is no mean feat, especially against a team that by design is supposed to be proficient on it. Hidden in down below here. Looking to just try and take this first. Oh, and the little jump up, but then the crouch from both sides means there is no headshot lanking. Oh, Quinky, how has he found that? That's mind-blowing stuff. X5 to drop Khan down below here. And Nemiga just crumbling. Every round, just crumbling.
Typho, what have you got for us? Nothing. Nothing is their very quick answer. Crumbling as you put it. Looks like Karen won't even get the luxury of a save here. Oh, maybe I speak too soon. Oh my god, it is ugly. The nade might do it. No, he's going to swing. This is super scrappy. Someone's got to die, for the love of God. Quinky will see him off in the end. Relaxy. Ah! Do you know what? Maybe deserved for that spray, to be fair. Maybe deserved. Down he goes to his team's knife. Happens to the best of us.
Once in a while. Not going to have too much of an effect. I mean, you can laugh it off at 8-0, surely. Either way. Into the following round. Same conversation. Nemiga. Got to find this. Already out of hand, but it's just going to get worse and worse as it goes on. X5 trying speedily to get in. Meanwhile, Quinky out on A. The support is what delivers. Cashlid with that AWP in the middle of the pack. Does get tagged down very low, but he still finds 2 kills. Oh, Leah hanging out, bumping in the smoke, as he will strike for 2. And now the conversation is absolutely back on. Cashlid low. Missed shot from him. X5 also not the healthiest, trying to just eliminate one more. Flash comes in. Oh, and the secondary flash is so good.
Wow.
Cashlid creates another. They're just so confident, as you would be with the scoreline. But man, what a save there in the end.
I'll keep singing his praises because he keeps stepping up. Cashlid, just an animal. Give him the chances and he'll shine every single time. 14-2 he sits at the moment. Big leagues are calling for this kid. It's moments like that that are proof that he's just got that added level. 9-0 though for K27. I think I can pretty confidently say that this map is all but done. No cost or curse strong enough for a recovery required like this for Nemiga. You offered up nothing on the CT side, and it might get worse. They might be a 10-0 start considering that their buy isn't exactly bountiful in round number 10. So Alio's top part, he'll drop down. That's, of course, made noise as he goes looking in towards Hut. But no one there. No one spotted. And K27, well, initially looked like it was going to be a quick pop towards A. They actually reined themselves back in. They don't want to walk into the stack.
Yeah, the setups are weird all over. Cypho delivers. And immediately they are frightened off. I mean, the smoke as well, going to make their life a bit harder. So, it'd be a strange way for Nemiga's first round to appear, but not like it doesn't happen in the world of Counter-Strike. And now, a gun yoinked up. Khan with armor as well. Could do some damage with that later on in the round. X5 with a change-up. Again, they are stacked. Trade is there. So man advantage retained. Pretty solid stuff from Nemiga thus far to just keep this round in their favor. And K27, it seems like the fallback is to just contact as much as they possibly can. And Sualio's timing could not have been better. His bought time, Khan delivers on the assist. And it will be Nemiga's first.
Yeah, finally. Right, and not only their first round, it's their first round taken and a bit of a weird buy. And we spoke about K27 at the start of that round reining themselves back in, but maybe they were actually overly cautious. First on the board, even if you get a decent run at the tail end of the half up to 3, I still don't know if it's going to be doable by any means. Still feels like a seriously long road to get something out of this.
No, it is true. And, like, although it's great to stave off the 13-0, there really is no difference in terms of being dominated.
Maybe, like, a slight morale difference. Like, at least we get 30-0'd, guys.
But it's like, from our point of view, you got ruined all the same. 13-0 is, yeah, sure, might be in a category of its own, but in the grand scheme, it's like, oh, K27 reverse swept you, and on the maps that they were decent on, they have smashed you. Is that going to be the story here? Obviously, Anubis still to come, but yeah, Nemiga's Nuke may well prove to be more inconsistent than first thought. This is a team that managed to get it to like 13-10 last time these guys played. I don't know that that's going to be happening here.
Yeah. Well, deny Zido any space. Cypher going to be tested. He's not exactly shone so far in this map. Close on his right-hand side. It's X5 for the first, and X5 comes out on top of his second of the round. And that'll get the space down towards B. There is Lear already here, and he'll net one. Surely dead to rights now, stuck in towards Dark. And that is the case, and the swing through double doors does nothing. Bomb down, round done. And I'm surprised Khan's even given this a look. Just I know he's got money, but keep hold of the AWP here.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's half in. But we'll be backing off. I suppose you're just trying to feel like you're a part of this game and not just being pummeled the entire time. You want to put up the best performance you possibly can, but yeah, as the bomb gets further and further, he will start to move away and just confirm the save. Double digits in the first half, we generally say, is an absolute winning scoreline. And if they can get up to 11 here, it really is going to be over.
Yeah, agreed. Feels next to impossible already from this spot, but yeah, 11 would be rubbing salt in the wound a little bit. Let's see if that's the case. 10-1. K27. What a showing by them. Is there any more for this tail end? Outside. X5 spots one. He's playing a dangerous game though. Facing two, one of which being an AWP. Makes a smart move to drop off from Silo. Join the rest of the group as they're once again going to move outside. Something they've been very effective at doing. Slowly progressing through. Need to break open the smoke, but a slower play, no one behind it.
Chiron. Looks to be the first line of defense out here. Khan as well to assist. It's Zido down below that you maybe look towards. But a little bit slower going from K27. Just absolutely wanting to lock in this next round, and they will, with some unorthodox smoking tactics, manage to get across. Lear instantly dealt with, but he spotted the bomb in all of this. However, the rotations are just going to be so cut off. They really don't have a lot of options here. Khan on the AWP. Trying to stick around. Actually shows a bit too much as Cashlid will take him down. And that is solid, clean advantage now to work from in this post plant.
Trying to give themselves a bit of space to move in, but in a 4 versus 3. And actually, this smoke is a nice gap on it. And X5 can utilize, even sitting here, this feels like a bit of a one-way without having a one-way. And it does work for him. He looks for the second, and he'll close it out. 11-1. K27 have put up a triumphant first half. And at this rate, we'll be heading in towards map number 3 very swiftly after this halftime break.
Welcome in, welcome back. Looks like this one might be a little too easy. But yeah, things are ultimately, for me, shaping up in a pretty good way. I feel K27 showing us more and more of what they are capable of. And at the end of the day, Nemiga have just not really been able to match up in a good enough fashion, which is a little unexpected. We were just talking about in the halftime break, you know, with the way that it had begun. It does feel that Nemiga would be competitive.
Yeah.
I suppose not. I suppose not. We're into it, though. Straight in towards Ram. Not wasting any time. Nemiga just throwing the kitchen sink at this one. See if they can make it work. The USPs get close to the action, and they will find great success, eliminating many heads. Only Leah remains, and there goes all of the hopes and dreams of Nemiga at this comeback.
Yeah, like I said, heading into the halftime break, I feel like it'll be very quickly before we head into the post-map break, and or maybe that might all but secure it. Lovely work, lovely shutdown. They try and take a leaf out of the book of K27 by going for a quick ramp play, the same pistol that K27 threw in, and they were so ready for it. 12-1. Beautiful stuff, and of course, you buy in towards the last one, Nemiga, but they can barely bring anything to the table. Good at pistols, and a bit of util is as good as it gets. Best of luck in this one. It should be a simple one to shut down. Simon through. At least with smokes, they can start taking a bit of map control. Kyron trying to look towards outside, so Walio is very lucky to still be alive. Oh my god, he's so fortunate, but he gets down.
Could be big. Could be useful in the future.
I think it's very understood that he's down, though.
It does look that way. He's got some backup, but there's 2 players actually with eyes on this now. So, what do Nemiga want to do with it? Do they want to try and join them? Or do they want to use it as like a distraction? That element is still in play, and also downstairs. Do they maybe want to join them from underneath? There's many questions here. Is Nemiga just desperate to find their first round in this second half, and ultimately one of the only rounds they might get in the rest of this game? Cedo on the off angle, and it looks like they will try and join things together here via the ramp. Chiron does take a key head. This gets a little awkward from down below, but there's that other player in X5 that was ready to hold. Only 20 seconds or so to get this bomb down. It's not looking too good. They're playing it patiently. There's no need for them to take any risks or go flying in. As soon as it happens, though, Chiron's in such a good spot here to potentially see this one off. In fact, Relaxi, the only healthy player in this situation. Cedo lining up a spam that's not going to net us anything, so that will be that. Does he even survive here?
He gets out somehow. He's still backing up. Lear's just chasing him all the way into an early casket. Should Nemiga stay alive? Somewhat quite surprising. I thought this one would be a relatively easy one to progress through. But not to be. So maybe a little bit of life in Nemiga. Oh, is his rifle going to stay alive? It does. Right at the end. Allowing the swing to come through. For K27, they're probably going to have to force buy around this themselves. They're in double eco territory around this M4. So it could give a little bit of a lifeline towards the T side. It's still an impossible recovery, but it might be nice to save face a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just going to have to do so much work to begin that kind of conversation. Even at this point, it just feels like K27 maybe playing around and trying some different setups and things. Ones that they don't usually go for, see if it works in an official kind of vibe. Going to be the low buy. With the 1M4. Twinkies 5-7. Oh, Dink lands just out of range. Scout is here to finish him off. Big nade.
Great
Big
nade.
5-7. Cedo, meanwhile, loses his life. So maybe there's legs to this yet. Oh, man. Okay, Sypho and Chiron. Really big kills. I thought, you know, you see all this action over at ramp. It's like, oh, that's not good. That might be the beginning of the end. But they have been bailed out.
5% or X5. Guess what is most likely a consolation, just how low he is. He is going to give it a little look. He's sticking around to see whether they come to him. Flashing towards heaven. He's dead, though, from alt vent. Sypho sees it off. Aaron and Sypho both had a really good round. Just when you felt like things were maybe starting to progress, it's that double from Chiron that really gives them an option, to be honest. It felt like the nade and the scout opening shot over towards round that could be a round fumbled, but not to be. A third now and a fourth should come for free for Nemiga, so at least, yeah, saving face a little bit.
Yeah, it should be one that's over quickly, or at least without complications in this one. They are stacked up on the ramp, so that might get messy if they end up going that way, but they're opting not to do so. Rolling through their A execute here. Nobody home. So it will be an easy, potentially uneventful round. There is a man lurking in the vents down there with a Zeus, but not sure that he's going to see too much action. It's all about whether he can fly up and find a kill on that Zeus. Quick dink. And the finish does come into that Mach 10, but again, nothing to write home about. There's the Zeus trying to get nice and close, give you a kiss, but not going to happen. He will go down. Pretty flawless round from Nemiga.
Yeah, just one casualty. Not too upset about that as well, because Karen got his double. Good money for the Mach 10 as well. Really wanted to make that Zeus work out, but back into the buy. And is this going to be the final step here for K27? It feels like it's just a matter of time. It's when, not if, they close this map out and move us on towards Anubis. But I think they would like to really do it dominantly. Obviously, they would for their own sake, but it sets themselves up nicely heading in towards Anubis with a lot of confidence. And for K27, with Nemiga feeling, well, very unconfident. There's an opener, though. Double nade that'll come through. Relaxial 4. And the spam on towards X5 through the smoke and single door deals a decent amount of damage to him.
Chiron. Looking to go digging. He will take a lot of damage there. Not the best of starts for him, and there's still a conversation that he might get finished off. Meanwhile, over at the ramp, seemingly what Nemiga have been enjoying the most. They stack up again. Smoked off and forced away. Minute left on the clock here.
Karen's been getting a lot of space towards our side, and for the most part doing a lot of great work with it. It's a bit of a freeze here, though, by Nemiga. 45 seconds to work with, or just under, and it feels naturally like they want to go towards the A-side finish here. And that Molly will force X5 off. He's going to play back sight now. Have to be really wary of the dive out from Hot, but also the potential of running through that main smoke. One for him as he's trying to dance around the pillar here. He's trying to get Mold to pull, and unfortunately he can't, but Zido will still pop his head in. There's a flank brewing here as well. Two players are making their way in towards lobby, and Kyron, that smoke just fades from covering his position. It really comes down to whether Cashley can hit this shot. If he can, on this sneak on round, then potentially might be something here. Kyron's going for the big flank, though. This will change things. Zido's probably dead to rights here. They've called for a freeze, but Zido's made his move, and Quinky will get a kill as well. Kyron's still here in the back lines, but he's held by Zido. And just like that, the map goes the way of K27. A molly at the feet of Zido, but his job was done with 3. And that is a 13-4 scoreline. A dominant nuke by K27.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Looking very, very good and giving Nemiga a taste of their own medicine, right? So pretty dominating map wins by both teams. That would maybe speak into the fact that they're looking on form this evening, but we maybe expected a little bit more out from Nemiga, given their performance on map number 1 and the momentum that that might give them, and the fact that these guys have had a head-to-head on this map. Not a bad one for Nemiga by any means. So it just goes to show K27, especially in the recent conversation, how good they are looking on this map. We, of course, have one more to decide this consolidation final. Who will be joining one win in the grand final? Time will tell, and Anubis is that deciding battleground. We'll see you there.
Welcome back. We are heading in towards our third and final map here of this lower bracket final to see who will be joining One Win tomorrow. And it's all down to this final map, as we spoke of. It's Anubis up on the docket. A map in which these two sides have played off against each other recently as well. Last time they played, not even that long ago, honestly, it was a overtime thriller. 16-12 in favor of K27. They're hoping that they can bounce off the back of a fantastic map number 2 of Nuke in towards a stellar Anubis to book their spot in towards that final.
Absolutely. I mean, really looking dominant in every sense of the word. There was kind of a competition in places on the Overpass. Didn't quite happen into the second half, but K27 obviously bounced back very well and just showed Nemiga that they can also do it. Hopefully Anubis will be super competitive here and give us something entertaining to sink our teeth into, but I'm not so sure, right? Like K27 with a really, really great look and showing their ceiling. This also has been a decent map for them recently. It's reps versus win rate is maybe the conversation here. But you just have to look at how it's been going this month. To be honest with you, they've had over the past 10 days or so, not played it for about a week or so, actually, but prior to that, they are on a 5-map winning streak on this against the likes of Big, Inner Circle, Miles NXT, you know, some decent teams, beating that WW team, which may well have included Deco on that LAN and whatnot. So, you know, a pretty solid run of results for them on this particular map. Nemiga, meanwhile, it's heavy reps, like I say, but maybe not quite as clean in the win streaks. But they're also on a 4-map winning streak this month. So it really could go either way. I just think that K27 have shown us a little bit more and just have that more complete game at the moment.
Yeah, and you look. I was taking a look in between that break at kind of the breakdown of kind of where these wins are coming from both of these sides, and there's a few more better teams involved over towards K27. I mean, Big, Inner Circle, both of them very solid. They're really kind of decent, but then you've got kind of like the scary kind of bogey teams. You touched on it, right? WWE, like that Deco side. They're really weird to play against. It feels like every like other month I'm hearing about them upsetting somebody at LAN. Obviously, they did it kind of like a couple of months ago. We're taking down VP, which basically like destroyed that team essentially. And the fact that they're able to kind of get a win there on this map, which has actually been a pretty good map for WWE. I've actually had the chance to cast them a couple of times, and that's been like one of their strength picks. So as a whole, that feels like a positive sign for me, where it just is for Nemiga. It's like, yes, it's a good that we have this kind of win streak that you were talking about, the 4 maps, right? But one of them is that WWE side, but then it's like the last resort. It's, you know, not a super scary side in the grand scheme of kind of the tier 2, tier 3 mana. Very similar as well. Miles and XT, they're looking better, but they're still on the up too. So it's tough. But I think generally I try not to look at stats as we get deep in towards these series, and more so look at kind of where things have been progressing at the moment in terms of this specific series itself, the vibes, as we like to say. And the vibes were very good for K27. That was such a good map one. There was a word that we were kind of maybe even slightly tongue-in-cheek saying it, but we were sort of saying that it could have been a 13-0, and I wonder whether Nemiga have had time to really kind of brush it aside, heading towards this third map with a completely clear mind.
Yeah, it definitely could have been, and it is going to be tough moving into this. I think they also would be within the same sort of mind as us, that at least going into that map, that it could have been close, it should have been close. And indeed, the last time they played it was. So, you know, Nemiga potentially shocked in a way by the way that result has gone. From time to time, you are going to walk into a map, you are going to walk into an opponent where you know it's an uphill battle. You know that there is a likelihood you get beaten pretty handily. And I don't think that was one of those times. K27 on the Overpass might have expected that, for example, in this particular series. Sometimes you do just have to be realistic about things. That was how we painted it for this. It's the K27 reverse sweep more likely than not. But Nemiga might have been blindsided by the fact that they look clean on the first map and like, okay, cool, things are working out. Now we go into the Nuke. Could be a bit harder here, but we're still proving that we're a good team that can bring this close, and then it just doesn't happen. So yeah, there's a big conversation. I think you raise a very good point around the pep talk coming into this third map, and how it will pan out for them, because they've sort of lost that confidence, I would imagine, now, and a very different kind of game going to be taking place on our screens shortly. Hopefully not too long of a wait getting into this one. It does seem everyone's in on the server, although I think that last player has just joined, so hopefully we're a little bit ahead of where HLTV would inform us, and it should be getting underway in just a few moments here.
Yeah, it seems like, at least what we can see on our side, is that they're waiting for the teams to kind of give the ready up, basically. That they're good to go, and they're good to kind of get this show on the road, which hopefully should be any moment, and we can see what this best of one brawler is going to look like. See who books their spot in towards that grand final. Who is in for that chance of going to the European finals, and doing so the chance for Pro League. You know, now for both of these two sides, they are only a mere few steps away, booking themselves a spot in towards Pro League. It's a map win here, a series win tomorrow, and then that finals, depending on how it all pans out, it could even be only 1 or 2 games. You know, we kind of saw it even like last year, where like Semperfi ended up winning all 4 cups, so they didn't even have to play a finals. Reratum won 2 out of 4, so they only had to play like 1 game. They got a bye. They basically went all the way to kind of like essentially the sort of upper bracket final, in a sense. So that's played like 2 games in total, rather than the initial kind of 3 or more if you went into the lower bracket, etc., etc. So who knows? But the path is doable, is essentially what we're saying, and pretty close now. We just need to get this, get this one on the road.
Indeed. There is a bit of a hold-up, of course, but still on the edge of my seat for this one. It has delivered as being a pretty good map, and hopefully a good series. I do enjoy a bit of an Anubis. Just get that rundown for you. We've been talking over it, but to give you a slightly more in-depth look with percentages and numbers. I know that the CS crowd does enjoy a good breakdown. But yeah, I still don't know which way to lean, unfortunately. I think for me, maybe K27 just showing a more complete game. Nemiga with some great individuals and some really good solid fundamentals as a 5-man unit, but I do feel that they throw themselves into these situations, and maybe there's 1 or 2 players that indeed are confident, but often ahead of the pack, so if they go down, they're tougher to trade.
Yes.
And things like this, right, can be a little harder to make work.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's a map in which feels like a bit of a handshake, and there's 2 ways of looking at it, which is win rate versus maps played. I generally value maps played over the kind of win percentage. I feel like just having those reps under your belt is kind of the big thing for me, and a variety of teams and all the rest. But the only real caveat to that is just the fact that not too long ago, a month and a bit ago, this was a map in which K27 took down Nemiga on, and sure, it did require that overtime, but still a win for them, and coming off the back of that nuke, surely their confidence has got to be absolutely flying. Still waiting on this ready up though, so it feels like we are stuck in a tech pause. Like all the players are in from what we can see on our side, but we don't have too much to update just yet.
No, this is true. Not quite sure what the deal is. You know, longer series, important map and whatnot. I'm sure everybody just wants to make sure that they are in a good place and able to rely on the servers and all those good things that we like talking about. It often makes a pretty big difference, I think, just to the mental of players, and they all got their bleeding net graphs up and everything, which I think some IGLs especially are always like, let's not have that, it's distracting. But a lot of players have it up just by habit.
Yeah, and
ADHD, of course.
Donk's one of them.
Yeah.
I saw one recently. Donk has his net graph like kind of like in the top middle of his screen, like right in front of him.
Yeah.
Apparently part of it is also because you can, in certain situations when FPS drops, like kind of like out of nowhere, that there's like a player there. It is like what part of the the thought processes behind it, but
yeah.
Who knows?
Feels like a pretty important thing as the game has gotten older and the ceiling has gotten higher as well, right? Like you got these super high hertz monitors. You want to be keeping your FPS high and stable, whereas back in the day when people are maybe on like 144 to 240 hertz was considered pretty high in like, you know, 2018 or whatever.
Yeah.
Not as big of a deal, you know, if you're losing 10, 20 frames here or there. We are into the thick of it though. Quinky going to open us up. Clean headshot. Also spots that there's nobody else sat outside of B main at this current time. Galaxy turns away from the flash. It's Cashlit up close, who does not get blinded at all by that flash. So not quite sure what to make of it. Zawalio trades him out, picks up the Julies, but they are man down at the moment, Nemiga. Should be able... Oh my! Okay. I thought that was X5. It was Quinky from behind, but he still looks pretty clean. Okay. Yeah, some sharp shooting to kick us off it.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see as well for K27 in particular, just to, you know, continue essentially what was a fantastic map number 2 and see if you can chain that momentum over, and getting a round like that, especially one which denies the plan, really denies Nemiga getting anything from it. That's what it's all about. Good start for them, no buy for Nemiga in this one, which is understandable about the bomb plant, but we've seen a few wacky force buys recently, so still worth highlighting. But it should be a 2-0 start. Nade gonna bank round and it'll tag up 3, but somewhat minimal damage.
Eagle spamming away. Nothing to be found through the smoke. We'll stack up on top of each other here, Nemiga, and try and entry in towards this B-bomb site. Quinky holding. Just has to be careful not to lose his head. It's not the most open angle in the world, but yeah, it certainly is a dangerous one. He knows what's up, though. He knows where to sit. Keeps the headshots coming. They will drop a couple. Khan the only one left, though, as the dust settles. And we generally say 3 is just about... I think it is just about losing money on the CT side, but it's pretty much where you want to be. Might be a bit different these days with, like, the molly being a bit cheaper, but you don't want to go below 3 is what I'm trying to say. And they'll do exactly that, so happy enough with the way that this first couple of rounds have gone.
Yeah. Spot on. It is really just about making sure that you can build up in a round like that as well. That kind of net positive, net negative in terms of the save versus kind of like how many kills are coming against you. Generally speaking, K27, all that they really care about is getting this strong start towards Anubis. And this now being a bonus buy, regardless of whether it was everyone staying alive in the previous round or not, you can win this round here. Such a good one to pile pressure on, especially considering that this is a T-sided map. We've had the most CT-sided map in the pool to start it. We've got the most T-sided map to close it. So if K27 find a third here, the fourth will naturally come quite easily as the money will be broken, barring there being a kind of a bomb plant and some kills. And with that being said, that's where you can see K27 starting to branch out into a very solid start to their CT here. Like anything in the region of 6 rounds CT is generally considered, honestly, pretty solid. You get 7 or more, you know, guarantee a lead heading in towards that T side, and people will be loving life.
Nice deep Molotov there. Fully pushes them away. They are mollied off themselves. 50 seconds and a relatively close 4 round thus far. Relaxy's going to get advanced though and catch one in the side. That starts to reveal what's going on. Also forces them forwards. They can't take any steps back here. Not the cleanest so far from Nemiga. They're going to lose a couple on the way in, but their headshots will start landing. 3 on 3 now. Still a player at the back end of the site, but he's smoked. Oh, Relaxy deleted as his footsteps heard. It's all on this flank. from X5. One is not enough, and Sypho deletes that final player. 4K from him. Nemiga, it's messy. It always is, but they still manage to hit the heads.
Yeah, and this is the thing with this Nemiga side. Like, sometimes in the chaos, we see some of their best work. Sypho does so well there. So sharp, man. And we highlighted him coming in towards this game because we know what he can bring to the table. Him and Casino. A previous map, it felt like it was more casually doing a lot of that heavy lifting. We're looking at someone like a Casino to keep somebody like Sypho at bay. You know, when he gets going, he's so difficult to deal with. Double FAMAS, MP9, and an upgrade on the pistol. It's a pretty horrible buy to try and convert here. They need a few fortunate things to go in their favor. We're actually going to play up close with the FAMAS. One thing that worries me too is that if they're required into a retake, there's really not a lot of util to go around here for K27. And around like this as well, I actually really wouldn't mind a gamble stack.
Yeah, of some description. I don't know about walking down middle.
Yeah.
As your gimmicky play. I think now that they've lost a player, they'll start to gamble, but even then, it's not full. Okay, there you go. Casino is thinking about moving away. Smokes off B main. Sell that. Yeah, that'll do. And they will indeed look to bolster up the A bomb site, which is the correct call. Really could get messy over here. Molly forces out the peak. Only one for Relaxy, but they're still going to go barreling on in here. Flashes are good. It's Quinky on this wall angle, really, just hiding away, fully trying to draw them in, not expecting him. He does well for two, but he's got two more to find, and it's Sypho that was lurking around thanks to that early kill to fully secure the bag. Second round for Nemiga.
Yeah, Sypho again, right? These late round moments. He's stepping up to play, and now at tight kind of two apiece. This is where the pressure flips. You know, it's a nice start for K27. Pistol and Force Buy behind it, but this is now where potentially things start to run away. It's shored up T-side econ, for the most part, at least for a buy-in towards this one, even in towards the next, if they were to lose. As long as you can get a couple of kills to come through, you'd be okay. But this is where K27 are in a bit of a problem. This fifth round here is basically a throwaway. So it should be a lead given towards Nemiga. You come back in towards a buy, and you should have a pretty solid one. You potentially can even squeeze out an AWP as well, depending on how much Quinky invests in towards this next round. But then again, in doing so, you lose that round, and that's where that snowball effect takes place. And we see it happen so often on the T side of Anubis. The snowball gets started, you get 2 or 3 rifle rounds back to back to back, and before you know it, you're in serious trouble. Tech pause here. To break up some of the momentum.
Indeed. I want to say our first one, we're obviously a little bit longer getting into this game, so maybe there is just a small issue. And there you go. It is small. It is small, to say the least. We are back into things pretty quickly. And hopefully we'll get into the rifle round nice and fast as well. We'll see. K27 might have something cooking up here. Talked about the gamble stacks. It'd be nice to just throw them in, you know, make your opponents worry about them as a possibility, but they're going for something. Ooh, hello. Tiny, tiny, tiny little spot.
Yeah, you get a pixel to work with, really. You've got to be quick on this shot.
Yeah, and they're not patient enough for that. Well, I mean, they were about to get mowed down from mid. To be fair to them, it still might be the case. Ooh, the nade smoke is awkward for Chiron. Doesn't see anything. It's quite dark in there as well. Deagle landing on the run by, but not that all-important headshot that is needed. His teammate's going to be falling. That one Deagle that we had hoped for is nowhere near this action, so the third round's going to come nice and easy.
Any more constellations would be nice. Deagle, now a known quantity, and now a dead man. Khan swinging a fine with the Glock as well. Love to see it. That's a confidence play. And the last one, a Queen C. Queen Key, may I say. Nothing he can do. You can make the argument about sticking around. I mean, damn it if you, damn it if you don't, right? There's no kill bonus to worry about, I guess. So I'd be tempted to stick around and just see if you can get a kill on towards somebody. See if you can catch someone off guard. But it looks like they might just all have maneuvered away. And now he's made noise as well. So it's a Mach 10 scooped up. And very briefly dropped as well. Sypho, another multi-kill round from him. Up to 8 and 2. All off the back, basically, of these last 3 rounds. He's looking very scary, which is a scary thing for K27.
All right. Ooh, late timeout coming round from K27. They absolutely want to be getting this one on the board. Stay hot on the heels. T-side of Anubis, as I'm sure we're all aware by now, it can very, very quickly become a one-sided affair. And that's what K27 are trying to prevent right now.
Timeout concluded. What have they got for us? An auto shotgun is one of the things they've got. Where's X5 play with this? I guess E-Box is not a bad place to go. You can also maybe play Jail. I feel like anywhere near A could be a bit rough. He's running towards mid. Let's see what he does here. Oh my god! He's util out, which very nearly cost him his life, and now probably a dead man, and he is. Thankfully, Relaxy quick on the trade. They double swing through camera there to take that control, and then they'll fall back off of it. But in doing so, decent job of taking space elsewhere, but Sypho caught in no man's land. But Sawalio for 2. Uh-oh. This is the B site open, and this man's holding for contingency. The insurance policy in through mid, he's going to be overlooked by Relaxy. There's one, and sure he gets traded, but the job done. Leah, nice work. Just about evaded that initial swing. And another round for Nemiga. K27 are actually looking pretty problematic at the moment.
Yeah, kind of playing the CT side a bit T-sided, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They're really fancying the dry swings and the heads-up fights. It's kind of similar to what we saw from Nemiga on Nuke, so it's like this, you've just won a map syndrome. The overconfidence comes into play. We have some very young players. They're like a new generation of mechanics for sure, and you can just see, like, even compared to some guys at the top level, like, say, I don't know, a Nico, for example, they look so much more comfortable in this game and in this engine. But when it comes to, like, the discipline and mid-rounding and calls, you know, decision-making, sometimes it leaves a lot to be desired, actually. And I think we're seeing that creep in K27. This is a nice idea, though. Not sure if it will be expected. Not sure if this window angle's been around long enough, but it gets cleared. Oh, no. Oh, no. ×2. What is going on? X5 lives while getting caught on the jump up. So that's a head scratcher for sure. And now Nemiga are just all over the place. They're into CT spawn. Not often a spot you expect. Oh, Relaxy jumps early. I mean, he could have got away with absolute murder. He still does. Orb in hand. Caught with nade in hand. And Sypho's spray transfer deletes 2. What is happening, man? Sawalio doesn't check close, but he still wins the fight. And now he's disconnected.
He tapped out. He's tapped out.
Hello?
He's tapped out.
What's going on?
He's tapped out.
His mouse... I don't know what to say. We'll see what happens. He might time out fully in a second. I feel like his mouse is not locked to the screen. He's done a big flick.
Yes.
And then you do that, like, clicking. That happens to me sometimes,
I've had the same thing.
Oh, God.
That's why a lot of people
crazy.
don't play with a double monitor setup for that exact reason.
Is actually a very good point. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, a lot of pros play single monitor only, so there's never issues like that. I can't believe it. What a manic round. Like, just absolute carnage all the way throughout. It's a third on the boards. I'm still at shock at what just happened there. Second time out taken by K23. If they can win this round here, it actually does twofold. You know, it puts real pressure back on towards Nemiga, because it's going to massively hurt their econ. But it actually starts to shore up this first half. It gives you decent foundations. You know, 4 rounds, even if you were to end on 4. Yeah, it's not great, but it's workable. It is feasible, especially if you can get a pistol in towards that second half. So for K27, find a 4th here. The 5th might naturally come quite easily with that money being lower, and therefore you can start making a real run of things. So I understand them calling for a pause.
Yeah. And just, we all need a moment. We'll see moving forwards if the kind of reverberations of that round are going to be felt. But pretty unbelievable, to say the least. What is the plan now? K27 could be huge for them, to be honest. Could be absolutely huge if they can turn it into a few rounds here, break the bank, and take a lead even. So Nemiga perhaps going to have to dig a bit deeper than they have been in the early rounds.
I agree.
That being said, they still just keep it to their bare bones basics. Get a man in, force a fight, and win that fight.
Swalio will double back as he will reclaim mid, picks up the bomb, and this indicates to us they want to go towards B. It's a reaction test, which Lear wins. Cashlid can't trade. He's scared about this being a split towards A, but they've kind of read this wrong. As the smoke comes down, they now should know they're going towards B. Potentially that drop might have even been heard, but they're not exactly masking where they want to go. Needed 2 there. As Kyron will trade. I guess it's 2 in total, but cashing out a 1 versus 3. He'll just give this one a save.
Yeah, valid. And I think he will get away with the save at the very least. Not what K27 wanted, right?
Yeah.
Right back on the board.
Especially after a pause.
Yeah, not good. Really not good. But continues to get interesting as Nemiga, with the ability on this map, slightly more head in the right place, I think.
Terrorists win.
Very much so improved compared to Nuke, I think it is safe to say. We've had some closer moments, some closer rounds, and
Yeah.
there is still a bit of a battle here, but K27 struggling to feel like they're in control of this map, and you can see that. Another one coming in.
Oh, 3 for 3 on these timeouts now. Really early to use all 3 of them. After only 8 rounds played, you can see how much pressure they're putting on themselves for the CT side to have, you know, some level of stability. Looking at K27 as well for their stats, they are right down the middle, 50% across CT and T side for where they get their round wins, which is, you know, considering this is generally a T-sided map, that is, I guess, a little bit odd. But on the flip side, Nemiga actually get more rounds on the CT side. 51.5% for them. But off the back of this third pause, what difference have we got? I mean, this could all start pretty poorly here. Clash is going to open things up. Khan wanting to trade, and, well, he technically does as he finds X5. And no one orbs lurking around mid somewhere else as well.
Sypho. Oh, got to be careful. Flash comes in. They're not following up on it, though. Opting to play safe. The AWP. The big difference maker here. Not looking likely. As there's not really all that much action towards the A-bomb side. But the further they go, the more they'll realise this. Or they will get ready for B. Don't necessarily have control of mid is the only problem, so it's not like that AWP can hightail it over there, and it's one of the sacrifices you make. 45 seconds. It's upgraded pistols, so we're not thinking about too much. I think Ashford said, okay, if they come A, I'm here for the defense. If they are going B, though, you're on your own. Oh, man, the quick headshot makes me worry, but not going to happen.
Sypho again, right? He's just a beast on his day, and as bomb goes down, another round in which Cashlin just saved. It starts okay, the brief opener that Cashlin finds, but then the immediate trade back can't. And in doing so, again, they just had the difference in firepower. Cash is holding. I think he should be okay. I don't see Khan wrapping all the way around in time. This is now all 3 timeouts used. And Nemiga up to 6. And it's, you know, it's also multiple timeouts now called, where the result following the timeouts is still another round loss. That's not a good sign. Nemiga are, by and large, in terms of the momentum and the feeling of this map, they're running away with it at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely does feel that way. I think bar the start for K27, that pistol going their way, it would be a very different kind of story. So they are going to have to wake up into this one. And they've used all their timeouts. So how do you propose they do that? Is the worrying question now, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see. This is a round that the timeout will affect, though. See if that is going to be the case. Nemiga moving a lot faster, looking to disrupt things. They got Chiron. The Rottweiler looking to get into the action. They're going to eat some nades early on here, but the T-side is unbothered by it. Zito behind. Oh my god, it's a huge mess. One, is it enough? Not really. There's nobody in on the site to find multiple kills, but the rotations are in quick. Maybe they can make the difference. Low HP. Quinky. Oh, not caught. Oh. Really important find from him. Bomb not dropped, so they're still looking to get that plant in. I think they should be able to do that with smokes in the way. They're worried. Boost. Unsuccessful. It's a lot of damage, and Quinky knows his lineups. Oh, Sualio, all of a sudden left alone on an island.
What does he do from here? I mean, he has time, don't get me wrong. 50 seconds to try and figure things out. No way. He stands tall. Oh, no, that timing to pull away is insane. And that'll have him dead to rights. That, to the millisecond, is as bad as it got in terms of pulling away for Swalio. If he stands tall there, well, he gets at least one. So close. Fine margins. It's not exactly a replicable round either for K27. Trying to repeat that again and getting that level of fortune on the timing and all the rest. Very, very lucky, but luck's a part of it, and I think they'll absolutely take it.
Yeah, for sure. Aggression over towards A, but not fully committing from either player there. Just looking to hold on to bits of control. Orb creeping forwards. Looking for the first pickup here. Got back up as well. Catches one. Sypho, nearly both. Oh man, the wall is the saving grace for Quinky, who manages to just keep his head.
Quinky. Spam on that smoke. No one behind it just yet. 25 seconds. Now 4 versus 4. Both sides are going to play that are tagged. It looks like as the bomb gets collected, they're going to double back towards B here. The safe rotation all the way. So Walio should be dead. What a time to drop. That was nearly brutal. But the trades are positive for the CT side.
Oh, Xido, big find through the smoke as well. K27 have come alive in the past couple of rounds. Fighting back. Khan, get that bomb down. Gets a shot off, but, I mean, he needed a collapse there to ever make this one doable. 5 rounds to come through. They'll just look to pick up a few extras before getting the defuse in. I think you could be happy with that. You know, it was really looking like a very, very scary prospect. The timeouts eventually paid off for them, and you see what happens now. Thank God for the plant. Nemiga should be able to fight back, but this could even up pretty quickly.
If you can even this up at this sort of tail end, I think for K27, despite the tack timeouts not leading to success, this would be a really nice way in which to recover. Still worry a little bit, though, at times, but Nemiga also feeling this pressure. They don't exactly have the buy to work with. Triple Galil Deagle and a Tech 9. Do wonder as well for Nemiga in a round like this, maybe going, especially like Zakairan, like less firepower, more util, potentially the better play. I'll say they up for firepower, but it's going to mean that execute, and then if they get to a post-bomb utility being really quite minimal.
Yeah, it is true.
I might just go for a very standard kind of like split to A hit here. There's 2 players to meet them, though.
Also an area that I feel K27 has not had a lot of presence is mid.
True.
So, makes sense they move for this fast. K27 seem aware, but the flash is just too good. They've been read like a book. The A-bomb site abandoned, and they will happily abandon it, I suppose. Going to allow for that bomb plant. And maybe, reading into what you were saying, the post-plant utility not going to be present. There's 1 flash remaining for that CT side. Sorry, for that T side. Few flashes on the CT side could make all the difference. But I don't know, they're pretty far back here. Got a flank brewing. Feels kind of late. Also being watched. So I'm nervous for this one, for sure. Kyron tagged up. Walio takes a peek, misses the timing on it. They will now have the onus to take these first faces. Swalio's Deagle standing strong, but the rest of the team, not so much. Got to get a player on that bomb. Last week, oh no, Swalio takes 2 heads in the meantime, looking for the 4K. There's no time on the bomb, and he has done it.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. We missed it initially. Maybe catch it on a replay, but might have to come a little later after the map. All the same, it is big things for K27 as they manage to close that gap. We'll see if they can continue it into the second half.
Welcome back. This second half about to get underway. A 7-5, a bit of a wild round, honestly, for Nemiga to get right at the end. But regardless, still, it feels like a bit of an impossible one to call. For K27, it was a poor start, but a decent recovery. And a couple of rounds towards that tail end that gave a little bit of a life into what at one point was looking like a lackluster Seaside performance. Well, let's see. 2 rounds of difference. You can get a pistol here as well. K27 can immediately chip away at this deficit.
Most certainly. Nemiga, though, just that 2 rounds between them. Feels like, oh, a big difference. Khan's head takes a knock, but he will just be out of range there to survive it. And they're panicking. Where am I putting this smoke? It will be to stop them coming in from the temple, and actually a perfect smoke. Pretty good timing on it. The bomb is at main and scared to get involved. They're going to go flying on through here. We'll manage to catch one. It's Leah who tries but fails to get more relaxy with a lot of kills coming in. That bomb carrier as well. Sawalio, their only hope, it feels, on these Julies. Misses his first opportunity, and they will give him the respect that he deserves. So not looking too good for the Nemiga retake to get going. Oh. Not going to happen. Khan 8 HP. I think he's just going to hold his armor at this point.
Exactly the sort of round that K27 needed to start this half off with as well. Laxi for a 3-piece, and considering it a pretty quiet first half, it's nice to see kind of immediately changing towards this T side. And the question being, is that a sign of things to come? A couple of nice shots, and I still think you have to be very scared of Cypher. I know Sawalio's also had a pretty good game as well, but Cypher keeps having these moments here and there, which just shows just how sharp he is. You probably need a slightly stronger performance from one of Xido or Cashlid to keep that real pressure on. Mid-pop flash will come through, it seems to be the play, but double mollies down before that nade behind it, and a flash as well. Something tells me X5 could be in a bit of trouble here. Yeah, he definitely is. He's trying to run away desperately, and Cash is there to bail him out. They might just round this corner, though. All the bodies are here ready to fight. The Molly trying to keep them at bay. This Eco also doesn't want to be fed in towards the Mac 10 either. That could be the worst case. Kyron spotted. Same for Leah as well. X5 is going to go searching. Oh, and he gets it jumping as well, of course.
As you do. So can't just dragging this one out. Potentially ahead if he can thread the needle, but pretty well joined up. Here you go. Yeah, that was his opportunity, and He takes it nicely. But, as you talked about, pistol comes in. Close that gap. K27 doing just that. And now Nemiga are going to have their work cut out for them after such a good start in the first half. They couldn't quite send it home. They couldn't quite get that dominant first half. And that might come back to bite them.
Really feels as well, this gun round for Nemiga, they can't immediately put kind of their best foot forward. It could be a tough one. It's not a great start, but a good trade. But then Xedo gets into the fray, and then one gets brought back by Khan. Back and forth, back and forth. It's 3 versus 3 in a matter of moments, just as we get to the minute 30 mark. There's an age-old moniker that we have as casters that trades benefit the T side, and the question is that going to be the case here? Nade over towards main. It's Sawalio for 2. Make that 3. One-man army at times he has been for this Nemiga side. That's another great moment from him.
It is true. Yeah, he's been having a fantastic map. And if it can continue into the CT end, really could be huge. So, another notch on the belt there from Nemiga. As K27 will be able to buy back in, and I think quietly curious as to whether they can find an answer back. They get aggressive down middle. I was worried about that for a moment, but they make it work. While Sawalio is so ready for this. Patient play, trigger discipline. My goodness. Relaxy deletes him, to be fair. And you could see Sawalio a little bit like, damn, I wish I had an AK. Wish I could get this first one immediately. Not the case, but he's just done so much work. Keeps them away. Gathers information for the rest of the team. Relaxy. It was a bit close, you know. Leah by himself going for that fight is dangerous, but he makes it work.
There was a moment that it could have been potentially a little funky, but yeah, not to be. It's still such a difficult map to call right now. Both of them are so happy to fight, but Nemiga now with a really nice advantage for them. A 2-round buffer zone, which should be made 3. Heading into round number 17. Not too much hassle in this one, you'd assume, considering there is next to no investment. Worrying times, indeed. 10-7, that would be 3 rounds ahead, 3 rounds away. Get a bomb plant out of a round like this might alleviate some of the pressure, but you've already lost Relaxy to Sawalio, and he's happy to stick around for the fight. He is going to go for a reload after only a few bullets, I will mention. That's not a good thing. The new update, but...
True.
Old habits die hard, I guess they say. Yeah.
And if you're going to do it in any round, maybe the eco round, not a bad one, yeah. Tyron. He'll probably get them all done in one mag here, and he does. So, flawless stuff for Nemiga. K27. Right back to that drawing board, of course. Sat with no timeouts here. They expended all of them in that first half to try and get the ball rolling. It did work. Only just. And now they find themselves in the second half with the same kind of issue.
Yeah, you're right. If that decision to utilize all of those timeouts so early, it's a slightly rogue one. And in doing so, of course, it's... Man, the moments like this are quite difficult. I'd love a timeout or 2 towards this tail end. That's a great way to open things up. Can Quinky get 2? He can't. It's Kyron who gets 2. And Cypher will add a double of his own. No way. 3 to close it. And that might just be the final couple of nails in this coffin. 11-7. Once again, money broke. And I think K27 have to go for a force buy here. But they are on their last legs.
Not looking good, is it? Not looking good. The second half just not happening for them. The pistols struggling. We generally do say. if those pistols are not going your way, you're going to have a hard time. They found it in the first half, but into the second half, maybe a bit more important in a game like this. And then just the fact that these rifle rounds not getting going. The Anubis not as well drilled as it might seem. And as we talk about, it's all on the reps. Nemiga with just a slightly higher number in that sense. Convincing us slightly as to why they are the victors here, or should be the victors. And to be honest, it's looking very, very likely as this continues.
You're right. Karen. How well will he deal with the drive-by Tech 9? Very, very well. But the AK, a different story. Cashley looking for more. They're trickle peeking against each other, but he's buying time for a rotate to come through. Quinky will also hit the deck. 12-7. Map and series point, Nemiga. What a run from them. What a showing from Nemiga. And especially in this second half. K27 wanted the revenge against one win, but they're not going to get there at this rate. That grand final is do or die now for them with this bye. And they've got to get 5 in a row to stay alive.
Yeah. No easy feat for any level of team. It does start with a nice rifle buy, but Sualio has got other ideas. He's been having a great game here, and he wants to get in the conversation for what could be that grand final round. Chiron mollied out. They're not confident to take the fight against him. Honestly, I thought he was a sit and duck over there. They have bailed on that idea. Leah to hold middle here. Misses his spray down. Chiron finds his. Khan has chimed in with the AWP in, I want to say, Con, catching that player off. Chiron will get another before going down, so it's all going to be on Quinky. 1 versus 3. Brought to 1-on-2. Bomb goes down, and he's happy for a fight. The flash is in his face. He tries to get the pre-fire
surely
out. They've got to be able to get the better of him, you say. It is close. It is close. But Khan will get it done on the tech. Oh, man. Quinky with some panic for sure, I think. But it's not enough in the end. He does not find that one last bullet he needed. And it will indeed be Nemiga to take it over the line. K27, we thought they'd get that reverse sweep. It was looking pretty good after map number 2 once you get them in a comfortable place, a place that they're familiar with. But it doesn't happen in the end. And Nemiga are able to defy some expectations, I think, taking it in that fashion on the final map.
Yeah, I definitely would consider them the underdogs heading in towards that game. And I wonder how that changes things for K27 and their major kind of contentions and all the rest, but credit where it's due towards his Nemiga side, right? That's a really, really stellar Anubis. And K27 could see there was an issue up very early. We spoke about it, like it felt like there was a lot of pauses being called quite early, but in hindsight, K27 knew that there was a problem arising here, and they couldn't deal with it. So with that being said, that is K27, unfortunately for them, eliminated a 3rd place overall, and Nemiga now book their spot in towards tomorrow's grand final, as they'll be taking on one win to see who will be going to the EU finals as well, which is, I mean, honestly, really, really exciting times. So both of these two sides, they're in really solid positions in terms of trying to be considered essentially the best of kind of the tier 2, and both of them are doing great work. One win look incredibly formidable at the moment though, so for Nemiga, as much as the last few days that we've caught of them, they've looked great and played some fantastic CS, and they've scalped some pretty big teams. Nemesis, then Ursa, now K27. One win's going to be a real tall order for them, but on this hot streak, Scriv, it's anyone's game.
No, that is very true, and one win a curious case, right, with the recent addition of Kickert coming in, this Rayos guy as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think have been a pretty interesting kind of team that they've just managed to turn things around and start battling for that next spot. K27 in 3rd. You know, there's a big jump in the prize pool. I don't have the exact breakdown on how that affects the VRS for you, of course, but I think it may well have an effect for them because they're missing out on all these lands. Probably needed like a top finish here if they were to remain in that conversation. But, of course, time going to tell. Depends on how all the upsets go and things like that. Nonetheless, an exciting game on our screens here this evening now.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, but that is also our game. Unfortunately done. It has been an absolute barn burner, but that is EU ECL done for the day. But there's still plenty of Counter-Strike throughout your evening as well. There's South America and North America to be coming up as well, so you do not want to miss those. Plenty more CS, plenty more sides vying for those finals for their respective regions. But for myself and Scriv, we're done for today. We'll be back for the grand finals tomorrow. You do not want to miss it, but for now, good night.
Nice catch from Khan, though. His consistency the past few days has been absolutely lights out, and Sawalio's double-degged them in the tunnel.
This is a great idea. Just can't consider it. It feels like no. It definitely looks like no. That's just two Cypher up close. Sending the pistol in first. He's playing trigger discipline. This is genius, but he needed to hold it for just half a second longer. A pop flash and a rush through short is there, but Cypher full blind. Kyron and Leah combined.
Oh, Leah hanging out, bumping in the smoke, as he will strike for two. Oh, missed shot from him. X5 also not the healthiest, trying to just eliminate one more. Flash comes in. Oh, and the secondary flash is so good.
Wow.
Catch creates another. Picks up the Julies, but they are man down at the moment, Nemiga. Should be able... Oh! My, okay. I thought that was X5. They're into CT spawn. Not often the spot you expect. Oh, Relaxy jumps early. I mean, he could have got away with absolute murder. He still does. Orb in hand. Caught with nade in hand. This is happening, man. Sawalio doesn't check close, but he still wins the fight. And now he's disconnected.
He tapped out. He's tapped out.
Hello?
He's tapped out.
Going on. Yeah, it takes a peek. Misses the timing on it. They will now have the onus to take these first faces. Sawalio's Deagle standing strong, but the rest of the team, not so much. Got to get a player on that bomb. Last week, oh no, Sawalio takes two heads in the meantime. Looking for the 4K. There's no time on the bomb. Like the flash is in his face. He tries to get the pre-fire
surely.
They've got to be able to get the better of him. You say it is close. It is close. But Khan will get...